come true. There's no limit to what we can do. Turning no's to yes, leaving doubt behind, releasing the stress. We were born to shine.
You're now tuned in to the Sade Champagne Show, brought to you by Grind Hard Radio.
That's right. The Sade Champagne Show. That's right. Every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 7:30. We live. Celebrity guest interviews, segments on health, wellness, fashion, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and more. Sade Champagne Show.
Good evening, everyone. That was Drew Seeley with Into the Fire from his The Resolution album. It's Sade Champagne, and welcome to episode 13 of the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio. This is our season 1 finale. Wow. Are you kidding me? After tonight, we will be on break until June 1st when we come back for some special episodes before we officially premiere Season 2 on July 20th. I will be announcing our newest Sade Champagne Show castmate at the end of our finale tonight. Every episode is available on iTunes. Search the Sade Champagne Show, and you can download them for free. Also, my Sade Champagne YouTube channel is another place where you can listen to the show afterwards. Thanks to everyone for tuning in all around the globe. All 13 episodes from this season are available at blogtalkradio.com/grindhard_radio. I've also posted the direct link to this episode on my Twitter and Facebook pages so you can tune in at any time. Thank you to Travis Miller for creating and producing my show's theme song and to Scott Swish for mixing it. If this is your first time listening, I'm a professional musical artist, performer, inspirational speaker, and entrepreneur. I have created, directed, and executive produced almost 200 charitable and inspirational events, including my popular Power of a Dream tour. I love mentoring, coaching, authentically being myself, and using my platform to encourage, empower, and bring out the gold in others. Tonight's celebrity guests are Disney Channel and ABC Family star Drew Seeley, who is now starring in the International Jersey Boys tour, and Erin Jackson, comedian and host of the show Exhale on Magic Johnson's Aspire Network. We will be playing Drew Seeley's hit music all episode long tonight. These are some of my favorite songs of his that I've chosen to play on air just for you guys. We also have a brand new charity spotlight segment where we'll be raising awareness for Richie Cares International to help children survive cancer, a Wellness Made Simple with Veronica segment, and Living with Fearless Joy with Rick and Melissa Wood segment. My Power of a Dream tour is always booking new shows and performances. This month we will be in San Luis Obispo at Grizzly Youth Academy, Westlake, Ventura, Oxnard, Santa Ana, and Santa Maria. We love traveling, and if you're looking to bring Power of a Dream tour or any of our award-winning, critically acclaimed artists or speakers to your city or event, please email me at SadeChampagneMusic@gmail.com. Once again, that's SadeChampagneMusic@gmail.com for more details. Check out my Facebook page, Sade Champagne, to see our full schedule. You can look under events to see everything. Lastly, thank you to everyone who has been watching, sharing, and subscribing to all my new videos. I'm constantly writing new pieces and creating new songs, and I'm going into the recording studio very soon. To find out more about my musical journey and how you can be involved, check out GoFundMe.com/Sade Champagne Music. Once again, that's GoFundMe.com/Sade Champagne Music. I'll be live tweeting and posting on Facebook all show long, and I want to know your thoughts. Tweet me at SadeChampagne, so tweet me at Sade Champagne, or Facebook me at Sade Champagne, or Instagram, I am Sade Champagne, hashtag Sade Champagne Show, or GHR to join in the conversation. Shout out to everyone who's always tweeting me, you guys Facebook me, Instagram me, YouTube, email me, and everything. Your support is the most incredible thing, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you. So we're going to get into our first segment of the night, and I'm going to let everyone know who's listening. We're going to be taking some caller shout-outs at the end of the night. So if you have a shout-out you've been wanting to make, you have a thought you want to share, some encouraging words, what this season has meant to you, whatever, you'll be able to do that at the end of the night. So make sure you tune in to the entire episode. Our first segment of the night is Wellness Made Simple with Veronica. Join certified holistic life coach, clinical aromatherapist, and inspirational speaker Veronica Esquivel-Winters to get some easy and practical tips on how to start living a holistic life. She brings unity to your mind, body, and spirit through this segment. Hashtag Wellness Made Simple to ask her your health and wellness questions and join in the conversation.
Hi, and welcome to the Wellness Made Simple segment. I'm your host, Veronica Esquivel-Winters. Today on Wellness Made Simple, we are going to briefly be touching on an awesome technique called grounding, also known as earthing. Have you ever walked barefoot along wet sand at the beach or on a field of grass and recall feeling some tingling in your feet or legs? That sensation is a result of direct barefoot contact with the surface of the Earth, which is filled with natural subtle energy. The Earth is an electrical planet, and we are bioelectrical beings. We can see this powerful example in our heart and nervous systems. Emerging science reveals that direct contact with the ground, or Earth, allows us to receive an energy infusion, compliments of Mother Earth herself. Just like the sun provides us with vitamin D in our bodies, the ground gifts us with electrical nutrition. This electrical energy is super powerful stuff. It can restore and stabilize the bioelectrical circuitry that governs your physiology and organs, harmonizes your basic biological rhythms, boosts self-healing mechanisms, reduces inflammation and pain, and improves sleep and feeling of calmness. When this happens, we can't help but to feel better in a very big way. Our bodies become in sync with itself again, and things begin to work and function properly like they were designed to do. How do you ground? It's very simple. You've no doubt done it before. To ground or earth, you simply place your bare feet on the ground, whether it be dirt, grass, sand, or concrete, especially when humid or wet. When you ground to the electron-enriched earth, an improved balance of the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system occurs. The Earth is a natural source filled with electrons in subtle electrical fields, which are essential for proper functioning of the immune system, circulation, synchronization of biorhythms, and other physiological processes. Grounding or earthing may actually be the most effective, least expensive, and easiest to attain antioxidants, as well as reducing inflammation. Negative charges have always been available, thanks to the earth, to prevent the inflammatory process from damaging healthy tissues. All of this changed when we began to wear shoes with rubber and plastic soles and no longer slept in direct contact with the earth, even when they began to put blacktops on our roads. Nature has solved this problem by providing conductive systems within your body that deliver electrons from your feet to all parts of your body. This has been the natural arrangement throughout most of human history. Now you can get back to your roots and get grounded. It's super easy, it's relaxing, energizing, and really, really healthy for you. Your body will love it, and thank you for taking the time and recharging. You can ground when you wake up. Simply go in your backyard barefoot and stand in the grass for about 5 minutes or more. I even like to lay flat on the grass for a bit too. While you're at work, it's perfect to do it on your breaks or even during lunch to get that extra boost to make it through your shift. Even taking the time to do it before you commute home. Or take a walk on the beach if you live near one, and take a barefoot stroll along the water and watch the sunset while you're at it. There's even grounding products that you can purchase at a local health food store near you or online. Grounding is such a beautiful and powerful gift we were given and have full access to. I hope this segment has inspired you to take the time and get grounded, because you are so worth it. Thank you again for joining me on my Wellness Made Simple segment on the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio. Until next time, be kind, loving, and true to yourself. Keep shining and being the amazing you that you already are.
All right, everyone. That was Wellness Made Simple with Veronica. Our second segment of the night is Charity Spotlight. This is where I highlight some of my favorite charities, and we've been doing this all season long. Tonight, I want to highlight Britty Cares International. Their mission is helping children survive cancer one smile at a time. I am so honored to be one of the spokespersons and an ambassador for this amazing organization. I began working with Sherelle and Jamie Henderson from Britty Cares International May 2010. A good friend of mine told me about this fantastic charity, and I wanted to get involved. I often already sing for the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life events all over California, so I knew this would be a great fit. I sang for Jamie and Sherelle over the phone, and they invited me to sing during the opening ceremonies at their annual 5K walk-run benefit later that month. Since then, I've been involved in several of their benefits, including their Christmas blood drive at the Los Angeles Children's Hospital. Britty Cares International is committed to finding new and better ways to improve the quality of life for children who have been diagnosed with cancer. The inspiration of the organization came from their 10-year-old daughter named Brittany Henderson, who passed away, and she was first diagnosed with bone cancer in 2004 and later developed leukemia in 2006, where she fought courageously without complaining while assisting other children with cancer to defeat the destructive disease. Britty Cares International, a.k.a. BCI, wishes to raise funds and public awareness to combat this disease. The purpose of the funds will go towards research and development, where BCI will work shoulder to shoulder with oncologists, surgeons, and nutritionists. The funds will also help to create a safe haven for young people with cancer, where hugs are overflowing, smiles are infectious, and dreams become a reality. With funds raised, BCI will provide patients with an Imagine Me bedroom makeover or a celebration party of choice and offer families social, emotional, and financial support. BCI will offer seasonal resident camps where youth venture and encounter a real camping experience. It is in Brittany's memory that BCI spreads the message that every child deserves the opportunity to smile. So I actually started a charity event that I do every single year for Britty Cares International, and it's my Ventura County Vocal Superstar. It's very popular. We've been receiving so much support throughout the years. Celebrities like Seeley, who's going to be on my show tonight, he supported this event by judging this vocal competition 2 years in a row. And so I bring in amazing teen and preteen performers from all over Southern California, and we have an amateur singing competition for them, and the proceeds benefit Britty Cares International. I bring in celebrity guests from Disney, Nickelodeon, The Voice, American Idol, etc., and they come to help support these amazing talented kids and to support Britty Cares International. And so we've been able to raise thousands of dollars for them. And many other celebrities have jumped on board to support Britty Cares, including Kevin Hart and Chris Tucker, Keke Palmer, Monique Coleman, Jill Scott, and many, many more. And I'm just so thankful for them. They've been a great encouragement to my life, and I want to encourage anyone who is, whether it's you yourself that's, fighting cancer right now, or you have a family member that's fighting cancer, or you've lost someone to cancer. I want to encourage you that we are here for you, that we're praying for you, and that we're cheering you on, and to never, ever give up. And so, and to know that your life matters. And I'm thankful for support groups and, charities and foundations like Britty Cares International, because it's brought so much joy to children. Being able to see, a kid who's been in the hospital for months, on treatment, and, all he's seen is the hospital bedroom, his hospital bedroom, and to see Britty Cares go in to the child's home, and they go and literally, make over the bedroom of their choice, whatever they would desire, and oftentimes, like, the Lakers have gotten involved in giving the kids free tickets, to the games, and also, sign autographs and spend time with them. And so then the kid gets to go home and see their room all made new for them and see how loved they are and how encouraged they are. And so I've been extremely thankful and humbled to work with this charity, and they have made such a huge impact to my life. And so I want to share with you guys how you can get involved. To get involved or find out more details, please call 323-292-8527. Once again, that's 323-292-8527, or email check out their official website, brittycares.org. Once again, that's brittycares.org. Do you dream of making a difference and traveling the world to help those in need? What are some of your favorite charities to support? I want to hear your heart on this. Tweet, Facebook, or Instagram me using hashtag Sade Champagne Show, or GHR, or Charity Spotlight. I love live posting and tweeting with you throughout every episode. All right, so we're going to go into a song break. We have Drew Seeley with Find Yourself from the Disney Mania 5 album. My exclusive interview with him is right after this. You're listening to the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio.
Hi, my name is Veronica Escobar-Winters, and I'm the founder of Homegrown Juicery. At Homegrown Juicery, our passion is to provide you with the best quality organic, raw, cold-pressed juice. We are proud to say that our juices are always 100% organic and raw. Visit us on Instagram and Facebook under Homegrown Juicery to find us at a farmer's market near you. We are Homegrown Juicery, and we are keeping it real. This is Veronica Escobar-Winters from the Wellness Made Simple segment, and thank you for listening to the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio.
You're listening to the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio. I've been looking forward to this interview from the moment that my radio show dream came to pass. This is a very special celebrity guest interview. He is one of my dear friends and a big inspiration of mine in this crazy industry, and I'm thankful to have caught him while on break from his popular Super International Jersey Boys Tour. Drew Seeley is an Emmy-nominated multi-threat musical artist, performer, and entertainer. His credits and resume are longer than a dictionary, so get ready. He co-wrote Get Your Head in the Game for Disney's quadruple platinum High School Musical soundtrack, sang majority of the lead vocals for the hit movie, and co-starred in the North and Latin American tours of High School Musical, the concert, playing lead character Troy Bolton in 60,000-seat arenas, and they were packing these out. He has written and recorded music for over 10 Disney music soundtracks and compilations, including Disney Mania 4, 5, 6, and 7, Shake It Up, Cheetah Girls 2, Jump In, The Wizards of Waverly Place, Alvin and the Chipmunks, and Disney Channel Christmas. Throughout the show, I'll be playing some of his original music and one of his Disney Mania songs that's my favorite. He has had roles on shows like One Tree Hill, The Closer, The Sweet Life, and starred in the hit movie Another Cinderella Story, playing pop star Joey Parker opposite Selena Gomez. Drew has also co-wrote and performed 4 songs in the film. One of these songs, New Classic, enjoyed a slot on Radio Disney's Top 10 Music Countdown for 2 months, and the music video has surpassed 3 million views on YouTube. It's way past that now. Some of his other notable starring projects include I Kissed a Vampire with Lucas Grabeel, Hallmark's original movie Freshman Father, the TBS series Glory Days, and Lovestruck, the musical, on ABC Family with Chelsea Kane. He is currently touring the U.S. and Canada with Jersey Boys, playing Bob, I hope I pronounced the last name correctly, Gaudio. Gaudio, there we go, the Four Seasons.
Gaudio.
Gaudio, there we go. Bob Gaudio of the Four Seasons. Not to mention, he was awarded as the first ever Firestarter recipient for my first annual Dare to Dream Music Festival, and I actually created the honor for him and our mutual friend, Brandon Slavinsky. Drew, how are you doing tonight?
Wow, what an intro. Thank you.
I had to, because, like I said, I've been so excited to have you. So.
Well, I'm excited to be talking to you. It's been a while.
I know, forever. And it's like life has passed us by. So I want to thank you for being – go ahead.
Of course. No, I cut you off. Go ahead.
I said I want to thank you for being a celebrity guest on the Sade Champagne Show. I know you are always busy and traveling, and it's so great to hear your voice.
Yeah, it's no problem. Thanks for having me. I'm just on a week vacation, and then I head back to the road, starting back up in Colorado Springs and Washington, D.C., and then over to the East Coast for the next 3 months with Jersey Boys.
Oh, my gosh, that is so cool. I want to tell you, listeners, how I first, became a huge fan of Drew. And even though he's my friend, I consider myself, with my friends, I'm fans of them too. So I want to tell you guys a little bit of how I first got introduced to him. So obviously I was a part of the High School Musical phenomenon and loved, the series. And so as I'm watching it and I start, doing some research, I'm like, who wrote these songs? Who's singing them? And I find out that Drew's voice was blended with Zac Efron's. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, I need to go find this guy's music. And so I'm looking at him online, finding his different music and his projects, and I just fell in love with his voice, and I've been supporting him since. And funny enough, when I started doing charity events to help, different organizations that I work with from all around the world, I actually reached out to Drew on YouTube. Funny enough, I was like, I don't know if he's going to read this, but I'm just going to give it a shot.
And, he actually ended up messaging me back later. I don't know how long it was, but when he got a chance, and he's like, I'm actually, out of the country right now, filming a movie, but please keep me in contact for future things you're doing, and I'm so thankful for your support. And so after our schedules finally working together, he was a part of one of my events as a celebrity guest, and now, he loved what I did, and so we've been close ever since. And his wife, Amy's a dear friend of mine, too. So just to give you guys a little context.
Yeah, I got to judge some of your talent competitions, and I love what you do and the way that you give back to the community and inspire to reach their, go for their dreams. And that's kind of like that's what I'm into too. I just want to inspire other kids to, follow their path, because I had a lot of people that supported me and encouraged me coming up, and you got to pay it forward. So good for you for doing that.
Thank you. So, Drew, when did your interest first spark in performing, and how did you know that you wanted this to be your life?
When I was like 10 or 11, I started very, very early. My sister, I have one sister, 2 years younger than me, but my mother used to drive us around to auditions in Toronto when we lived in Canada when we were kids, and I think the first thing we did was we got a commercial agent, and we did a bunch of like Sears catalogs and that kind of thing, like photo shoots, and then a couple little commercials here and there, just local stuff. And then I went to an open casting call for Showboat, the musical, in Toronto, and I lucked out and got a role as one of the kids in the ensemble, and I did the show for a year, and it was a totally professional Broadway level show that actually went.
Wow.
The same cast went to Broadway a year later. So I really caught the bug then, as far as singing, dancing, acting, everything. And I was 11 then, and I was like, this is what I have to do. So that's where it started.
So what was the process like then, from when you caught the bug and you made that decision, and after your first huge production, did you start taking lessons, getting mentored? Tell us about that.
Yeah. All of the above. I took, acting classes and dance. I danced when I was a kid as well, so kept taking dance lessons, and got into singing last, really, not really until I moved to Florida when I was 13. Got into chorus, and then found out that I, had a pretty decent voice, and I enjoyed singing, and I kind of combined them all together and did all the musicals and plays in high school. That was my biggest education, I think, and my biggest training was just getting involved in high school my freshman year, and then, I didn't go to a magnet school, but I went to a school that had a drama teacher, Jane Mueller, who really elevated the whole department and let the kids get involved and actually do all the production work, the backstage work, and putting the shows together. So I learned as much as I could in my 3 years there, and got a whole bunch of other training and experience playing different parts under my belt. And yeah, I mean, that if you're lucky enough to be in a school with any kind of a theater department, I think that's, for me, that was the best training ever. And then just going outside of that and finding you have to be very proactive and just like find opportunities to keep learning. I'm still learning now. When I'm not on the road, I'm taking class, and I'm reading a bunch of books on screenwriting right now and trying to write my own things. And as long as you have a curious mind, you'll go far in this life.
I think that's funny that singing is the one you started last, and you're strong in all of your different artistic abilities and your creativity, but your voice is absolutely phenomenal.
That's what
I think it's funny.
Thank you.
That's the one you started last.
Yeah, that's what most people know me from, but you never know what's gonna kind of hit for you, and that that really opened the door for me in a lot of different ways. So very very blessed and very grateful that God gave me a gift that I am able to share, and I love singing, and Jersey Boys is like the ultimate gig because I get to do 8 shows a week and sing these beautiful classic songs and see the country. So life is good.
And you have a very distinctive voice too, which is great because, you know, I don't want to say it's oversaturated because I feel like if people love music, then they should always do music and they should always sing. But there's so many voices for people to hear from, and I feel like it's cool that you have a very distinctive voice. So when people hear it, even if they don't see you, they're like, "Yep, that's Drew Seeley," because your voice stands out. So that's really
cool. I never really thought of it that way, but cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. So you have a very useful. Go ahead.
Go on.
No, go ahead.
I think there's a delay. I think there's a delay on my end. That's why I keep cutting you off.
It's all good.
No, I was. Yeah.
So you have a very youthful-looking face. I know you get booked a lot of young roles, but also a good amount of adult or older roles too. How do you balance your young fans and adult fans, and do you try to make music that appeals to both, or just whatever you're feeling?
Well, I mean, I don't try to handle my fans at all, like in the sense that, like, I like to be in touch with them on social media, and you know, and let them know I'm grateful for their support. But I feel like it's really more about my artistic journey, you know, and what internally, fulfills me and makes me want to keep doing it. Because some fans stick with me from the beginning, and then other fans, might find somebody else to latch onto, and I'm grateful for any kind of support that I get from anybody at any point. But I think what sustains me more is the work. And God, this sounds really rude. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it's not all about the fans. That they're a very important part, but I don't do everything just to please other people. So I guess that's why I do a lot of weird, different kinds of music, and I don't have a lot of I don't have like an exact style that I always go back to. Like I'm pretty all over the map, but that's because that's kind of my personality, and that's what makes me. That's what does it for me at the time. So does that make any sense?
Yeah, that does. And I think it's, for our listeners, that's very important, not only if you're in the entertainment industry, but for any dream period. Of course, you want people to enjoy what you're doing. You want people to support what you're doing. But it is important to do it based upon how you feel and what you desire. Because if you only make music that you, like, for example, say if an artist has an album that's very successful and the fans love it and they want you to continue doing music like that, as an artist,
right.
You want to be able to have the option to branch out and do different things. So, even in the entertainment industry or any dream, just in life period, we want people to enjoy us. We want people to enjoy what we do, but you have to also do it from what's in your heart. So I want to encourage anyone with that. I think that's, very good advice that you gave. That's a much more silly, but I think what you gave,
That's a much more eloquent way of saying what I was trying to say. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, but I know what you meant, and I feel like if people, they're listening, it's important for them to grab a hold of that too, because especially in our day and age with social media and so much different types of pressures, people are hardly ever being their full self. They're only being, what's the hottest thing right now? And not just in the industry, but in multiple different careers. They're only being what they think is going to sell or what they think is going to get them attention, as opposed to what do you enjoy? And you can hope that the people who really support you will enjoy you as well, regardless.
Totally. Trends can be fun, but don't get caught up chasing trends. More focus on being yourself and what makes you happy, because you can't please everybody. But if you, if you're happy and fulfilled with yourself and what you're doing, then the right fans will find you. The people that appreciate your authentic self. So that's
exactly that's
kind of how I feel.
So, what is the biggest misconception that people have about you?
I mean, I can't escape the High School Musical thing. I never will be able to, I don't think. And not in a bad way, but even now, like, at the stage door after a Jersey Boys show, it's either Cinderella story or High School Musical, and a lot of people think those are the only two things I've ever done in my career, and they were great moments. They were great moments, but not the only thing. But one of the biggest misconceptions is that I have some sort of long, ongoing feud with Zac Efron. And I don't know why people think that or where it came from. I think he's let me set this record straight. He is a crazy talented guy, a really, really nice guy. He's, a great actor. Like, I have nothing but respect for him. But for some reason, people want to make this, like, crazy feud, and think that, like, I'm out to get him or, I don't know. It's really strange. So still, at some point, I just start ignoring, every time people tweet me things like that or, hateful messages related to that. It's just like, there's not even a point in engaging because I've said it so many times. If you want to know my position, go back and read any one of my, times I've said it before that's not the case. So that's a weird misconception. But
that
I don't know.
Is so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I think I'm a pretty.
Anybody who knows you knows that you're like one of the most down-to-earth, kind, encouraging, loving people, which is why you and Amy are so perfect for each other, that you're not the kind of person who's going to talk trash about anybody, and especially not in the public eye. You know what I mean? Because that's just not your character. So I feel like that's definitely something that people just start themselves, because there's no truth to that ever, and nor will it ever.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think there's really any other misconceptions about me that I know about. I think I'm a pretty open book.
Yes.
What you see is what you get.
That's true. What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? My wife right now. Oh, I mean always, she's I don't know if you heard yet, but she's not returning for season 3 of Dating Naked.
Yes, she shared with me last week when she was on the show. Yeah,
there was a recasting, but it wasn't really because of anything she'd done. Like, the show was getting better ratings the second season than the first. Everybody on the set loved working with her, so it was kind of an unexpected blow. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
but she, she's never been the person to just roll over and like wallow in pity. Like, she jumped right back on the horse. She's been out there auditioning. She's creating like her own show, and she's I don't know. She inspires me to. She inspires me in so many ways, but especially how she handles rejection and how she is so resilient. So I'm really, really proud of her, and I'm so in love with her and so lucky, to get to share my life with her. So, it's always it makes being on the road harder, but being married, but we found a way to make it work. But she's great. So go Amy. Something big's coming up.
Yes, exactly. You guys are so cute. I love them to pieces. So I know that you are a man of faith. Have you always been that way? And how has your spirituality and relationship with God transformed over the years?
Yeah, my parents got my sister and I, going to church and taking, Bible study when we were very young. We went to Presbyterian church and Baptist church growing up. Right now, Amy and I both go to Mosaic in Hollywood, which is sort of a non-denominational church, but faith is very important. I know that all these experiences in my life and my health and all these blessings, come from God, and I'm very, aware of that and grateful. We I don't know what else to say about it. It's go faith.
Amazing. That's more than enough. It's more than enough. Whatever you share is more than enough. So tell us about a time when you wanted to quit, and how did you overcome that moment?
You ask good questions. Let me think.
Thank you.
When did I want to quit? I don't know that I've ever wanted to quit, because that means you got to do something else, and I can't think of anything else that I'd rather do. I guess the year before, right before High School Musical was very difficult for me. I was working at P.F. Chang's full time, and not getting. I had an agent who pretty much drop me. They didn't officially drop me, but I didn't book the first couple of things, so they'd stop sending me out at all. And it was, hard to get them on the phone and that kind of thing. So, and I left my whole I left my family in Florida, so I didn't know anybody out here in LA. So, it's that turning point where some people, I guess, say, all right, I'm broke. I don't know anybody. I'm not even getting in rooms. Like, what am I doing? And I wouldn't say I ever got depressed, but it was not a high point. But I just kept hustling and waited it out and got through that point, and then eventually work started coming. So perseverance is a very important trait, I think, and thing to have, because it's all peaks and valleys. It's never a straight ride.
That's true. And so I want to encourage our listeners, and you guys hear us talk about this throughout the season. Steadfastness and perseverance are huge, and we can share with you, all about it. But the only way that you will ever learn to be, the way you will ever learn to persevere and be steadfast is actually when there comes a time in your life, and there will, and if you're not already going through it, where you will need to be steadfast and perseverance and persevere. I think of a quick story where, our mutual friend Tanya Chisholm, from Big Time Rush, she, I remember meeting her. Actually, I was at like a TV show taping. I was in the audience, and it was for Corey in the House. And then somehow I was with my friends at Hard Rock Cafe at Universal City Walk, and she was one of the waitresses that was there. So, because a lot of times people that are actors or when they're not in pilot season, they're usually working full-time jobs. A lot of them are servers. And so I remember seeing her there, and I was like, hey, I remember, seeing you when I went to this episode of Corey in the House, and we started talking and got to know each other. And she's like, yeah, I just filmed this, this project. I'm praying and hoping that this is going to be my big break because, I'm really done with, waitressing and all these things, but I know that this is my dream. I know she came from Florida as well, to California. And so it was literally like I saw her in transition, like right before all that was happening, and she was, a full-time server. And then literally it was later, I want to say later that summer when High School Musical 2 came out, and it was right after that her career broke, and she was, or she got big and was able to do the things she loved, and we stayed in contact, all these years. And it was so cool because it's like that's an amazing thing about dreams, and like you're talking about, like things, eventually will break through some way or another. And even if it doesn't, break the way that you desire, I still feel like people would be happier and more satisfied doing what they love than had they lived their life paralyzed in fear, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. Fear is the most useless emotion ever, except for like, fight or flight. Like if you're getting run over by a bus, you better get scared and you better like run to the sidewalk. But beyond that, any other kind of fear, I don't see how any of it helps you, at all.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
exactly.
Screw fear.
Exactly. So how do you handle negativity and stress?
Well, Amy introduced me this week to a place called The Den, which is like a meditation center, which is really cool.
Oh, okay.
So I think meditation is something she's been into for a while. It's something I'm just learning about. Because I don't know about you, Sade, but it's hard to turn off my brain sometimes. When I'm trying to go to sleep at night, I'm always planning. Like, okay, here's all the things I need to do tomorrow, or whenever I have a few free moments of time, it's always like checking my phone for this and that, and it's great to slow down sometimes and just breathe, and that's a great way to just get stress to dissipate. Negativity, as far as negativity, you kind of are who you hang out with in a way, like I don't surround myself. I actively try to not be around people who are negative Nancy's. It's like there's, life is short, time is limited. Spend it with people that bring you up, that make you better, And a lot of people like to complain, and I guess some people think they're doing complainers a favor by being an ear for them. But if you're just an ear for someone, like if you're listening and thinking you're helping someone by listening to them continually complain, I kind of feel like it's more you're enabling the cycle of negative thoughts to continue to happen. You know, you're indulging people's negativity. So that's more something that they need to find on their own, and they need to fix and figure out, or hang out with a bunch of other negative people. So I think just, you know, just surround yourself with people that make you better and inspire you and are not negative, you know, because the world's a beautiful place. There's a lot to be grateful for, and there's a lot of amazing things to see. Like, there's negative things happening in the world, but it all, you know, there's also so much beauty. It just depends on where you look.
And, you know, guys, and he shared something. Well, he's been giving us all types of great nuggets, but he shared something that was really huge. You're not doing yourself a favor or making yourself a stronger person by being around negative people unnecessarily. Yes, there's going to be times in life where you might not have a choice. It might be a family member for a gathering or something, but it doesn't make you a stronger person to be able to continue to listen and be beat down by negativity and criticism and complaining. It really just drains you, you know, and you'll notice that. So because even though people, they'll think that they're strong enough to handle it, we're not. You know, we're, you know, whatever it is that we take in is what we're going to reflect. And so I think that was huge, you know, and great wisdom that he shared. You want to make sure you're around what you desire to see reflected in your life. So that was huge.
You can't help but, you know, it's going to rub off on you on some level, I think. You know, if you're, so, yeah.
I agree. And for a lot of people that are aspiring entertainers or, you know, are already in the entertainment industry, how do you stay confident while working in industries that have been known to tear people down?
I don't sometimes, honestly. Like, I'm human as anyone else. I have, you know, I do have, even though I'm saying, hey, you know, forget fear. I have fear. I have fear about the future, you know, about, you know, when this current job ends, like what I'm going to do, you know, especially now being married, you know, will I be able to provide for my family, you know? It's especially being an actor or just being in entertainment in general, where you are your own, you're your own product, you're your own contractor. You do spend a lot of time unemployed. So, what was the question again?
Like how do you stay confident in these industries that have been noticed?
How do I stay confident? I mean, surrounding yourself with positive people that make you better, like I was saying earlier, that's a big part of it. You know, like, you need a strong support team. You need good friends. You need people to lift you up. But I think at the core of my being, I know I'm okay with who I am. Like, I know that I have something to offer, and I know that when I'm not working, work will come. That's not something I used to have as part of me, but I think I've been working long enough. I'm 33 now. I've been acting professionally for over 10 years.
Wow.
So I know that there's going to be times when I'm not working, but eventually, you know, I have enough talent that somebody will hire me. So until then, I'll be okay. It's going to work out. You know,
exactly.
and you don't always know. You can only steer the ship so much. That's another thing I learned is, like, you know, you can kind of try in general to, like, lead yourself to where you want to go, but then something great might come out of left field, and you need to be open to whatever experience that might be. You know, so like narrow-mindedness is good to an extent in that you can focus to get something done, but you need to stay 1,000,000% open to the world and, like, what else it might throw at you. Like this Jersey Boys thing, I wasn't even trying to do theater at all. And it came out of nowhere, and now it's been 2 years of my life, and, like, 2 of the best years of my life. So you never know.
So with that, tell us about your Jersey Boys tour and also what you're currently working on. Because I know you always have your hands are always in multiple things, even though you're very focused, but I feel like you aim in a lot of different places, and you end up, boom, it's there. So share with us about Jersey Boys and your current project.
Sure. Well, I play Bob Gaudio, who's the principal songwriter of the Four Seasons, and been doing that for about a year and a half almost now. So we have 3 more months of tour. We finish up in Tampa in June, mid-June. But we're in a new city. We're in a new city every week, and it's taken me all over the country and Canada. And we went to Tokyo this summer, and that was incredible playing for audiences out there. So it's been an amazing experience, and it's not over yet. But on aside from that, I'm writing a script right now about my boy band days, which is going to be hopefully a funny comedy.
I'm sure.
And
You're a funny guy.
And I have a couple movies that I shot like right before Jersey Boys that haven't come out yet. One called The Do-Over, which is a rom-com that Amy's in as well. I did an animated feature called Seven Seas Pirates, where I play pirate. That was fun. And a gymnastics movie. Sorry, with some of the same actors from. It's called Chalk It Up. That's coming out. And what else? There was maybe one more thing. And then just music.
Wow.
Besides that, I'm always writing and creating, and I don't have any plans to release any albums right now at the moment, but I've been writing for a lot of other artists, so a lot of Japanese and Korean artists I've been pitching songs to and had them cover a couple, just a songwriter. So that's been fun, because that's something I could do anywhere, from anywhere in the world. So I've just been doing that in hotel rooms all over while I've been doing Jersey Boys. And besides that, just living life, seeing a lot of movies, enjoying this beautiful planet.
Yeah, I love it. And that's so exciting, because I feel like you always, like I said, you always have your hands in different things, and the fact that you're so versatile, I feel, is what has allowed you to continue to grow in your career. And I told Amy the same thing. I feel like you guys' best days are now and ahead of you. You may think you've seen some great things, but you ain't seen nothing yet, and so I'm super
Thank you.
stoked for you guys.
That's how I feel too.
So
likewise.
Thank you. So we have one of your biggest fans on the line. She's one of my superstars and training students. She's one of the hardest working, most consistent, dedicated, and transformative young women I have ever met and had the pleasure of mentoring.
Awesome.
We actually have a lot of listeners that are in, but I wanted to specifically have her ask you questions. I love making dreams come true, and so we're going to bring her into the show. And we have her here, area code 805-290, bringing you into the show. Get her in here. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
Hey, Kim. What's up? How are you?
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hello, Drew. Hi, Drew.
So Kim is actually, she was one of the finalists for my vocal competition this past year. And it's funny because she knew you had been a judge 2 years in a row. And, we were trying really hard to get you, but you were, on tour, and then the time wasn't working out.
Yeah.
And then she's so funny. She's like, oh, my gosh. She goes, the year that I'm doing it and he's not there. I'm like, well, he'll be back one day somehow. So,
I sure
Kim,
will.
what are your questions that you have for Drew? We'll start with your first one.
Okay, my first one is, what advice do you have for anyone who wants to get into the singing business?
That's a hard question. There's no one way in, I would say. If you like singing, find any opportunity that you can to do it, to share. It's about being generous and about sharing your gift. So just get out there and don't be afraid to just play and let people enjoy, because you never know who's going to hear you and what's going to lead to what. Like my career has taken the most strange zigzags to get me to where I am now. So at least that you love singing and you want to sing at a young age. So take that and run with it, I would just say.
Yeah,
that's good. And what's your second question, Kim?
And second one, looking back at what you've done and sacrificed to get to where you are now, was it all worth it?
Absolutely. Every ounce of it, yes. Because I mean, I love what I get to do, and it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like work, even if it is. And I think no matter what it is that you do in life, if you can get to that point where you love going to work and it doesn't feel like work, I think that's like winning. Like I'm so I mean there've been sacrifices, but nothing crazy, you know, like I don't know. I'm sure that other people have dealt with a lot more things than I have, and I'm sure that, you know, things will come up that'll be very difficult, but I do think that I do think it is worth it to follow your creative vision and goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, is there any final words you want to share with Drew about how he's inspired you or anything?
Just that I've been watching you since High School Musical and in another Cinderella story, but you have inspired me a lot. Like,
thank you.
Just your music.
That's awesome.
Your music's amazing. Like, yeah, when Sade told me she knew you, I was like, are you kidding me? Really? But, yeah.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. And, you know, that inspires me in turn, hearing you say that, because, you know, there's some days where I'm not so easy on myself, you know, but that makes me want to just get in the studio and just keep doing it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, good luck.
Thank you, Kim.
Good luck with your career.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kim, for listening in. Thank you to all of our listeners. We are going to be able to get more questions from Drew at another time. One of these days I'll be able to catch him again while he's on break. And we are actually going to play one of his songs as we end his time on the show. This is one of my favorite dance tracks by Drew, and it was on ABC Family, and I'm going to have him introduce it for you guys. This is Till the Sun Comes Up. So, Drew, please introduce your hot record.
I was like, I don't even know what it was. Yeah, okay. This is one from I think it's like a year or two ago. This is called Till the Sun Comes Up. Enjoy. And thanks for talking to me, Sade.
Thank you. Thanks to my dear friend Drew Seeley for being our celebrity guest tonight. Keep listening to the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio.
Are you looking for a dynamic musical artist, performer, host, or inspirational speaker for your next event? What about a mentor, vocal instructor, or workshop leader for your school, company, or seminar? Contact Sade Champagne for countless professional services that are sure to fit your particular need. She is an in-demand, award-winning, and critically acclaimed musical artist, performer, inspirational speaker, and entrepreneur who is invited all around the world. She is known for having a powerful voice, turning ideas into action, creating, directing, and executive producing popular, charitable, and inspirational events, and bringing out the gold in others. Her services are for all ages, backgrounds, and environments. Contact Sade Champagne at SadeChampagneMusic@gmail.com. That's spelled SadeChampagneMusic@gmail.com. Sade Champagne Music@gmail.com to book her for your next event or project.
Hey, this is Rick with the Living with Fearless Joy segment. You're listening to the Sade Champagne Radio Show on Grind Hard Radio.
Welcome back to the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio. Right now we have our second celebrity guest interview of the night with popular comedian and television host Erin Jackson. She is so booked that she's calling in tonight in between her shows and performances. She was a semifinalist on the 2014 reboot of NBC's Last Comic Standing and co-hosted 3 seasons of Exhale, a provocative and candid talk series on Earvin Magic Johnson's Aspire television network. She can be seen nightly in many of New York City's top comedy clubs and has performed stand-up on the Ellen DeGeneres Show, owns Wanda Sykes Presents Herlarious, Comedy Central's Live at Gotham, AXS TV's Gotham Comedy Live, and TV Guide Network's Stand-Up in Stilettos. She has appeared on NFL Network, VH1, and TV Guide Network as a panelist on sports and pop culture countdown shows, and she also works as a voiceover artist. Hi, Erin. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. We want to thank you for being our celebrity guest on the season 1 finale of the Sade Champagne Radio Show.
That's hilarious. Well, thanks for having me. No one called me a celebrity.
You are so funny. I don't think it's because you realize it. And also, too, I'm a little biased because I love, love, love comedy and comedians. And so, to me, you're just like, ah.
Oh, thank you.
So, when were you first interested in performing arts and comedy?
Man, I kind of fell into it. I don't have a great origin story. My boyfriend dared me to do a comedy show. He signed me up for a one-day comedy seminar, and he was like, "You should try this. You said you wanted to try it." And it was kind of like a dare. I didn't really think much of it, and I did it, and I fell in love with it. And yes, that's pretty much it. But that was about 13 years ago.
Wow. And so how did you know that you wanted this to be your life?
I didn't. I kind of just was exploring it as a hobby. I did it. I tried it. I loved it. And it was just something I did weeknights. I hated my job, so I would do it weeknights, and I made new friends. And I wasn't even considering doing it full time. I mean, I had been on I'd been on Comedy Central. I think I'd been on Last Comic the first time. I had been on Ellen, and I was still going to work every day. Like, what? I have a job.
Wow.
I got bills. And I hadn't even thought about, quitting my job. But then actually Ellen said something to me when I was on her show. She was like, and it then kind of occurred to me, like, well, maybe somebody that was talking about thinks I could do this for a living. Let me try it.
And
that's
And so,
yeah.
So were your family and friends supportive of this dream?
Nope. Not at all.
Wow.
But no, they weren't, because, and I don't even think it came from a bad place. I mean, a lot of people, if you're an entrepreneur, like, a lot of people will look at you sometimes, and it's not that they don't want you to be happy or to chase your dream, but, my parents especially were, I think, just worried that I wouldn't be secure. They were like, you're going to quit a good job, and you're not going to be, we can't help you, we're old, So I think it was just that, like that coming from a place of love, but it still feels like hate. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, why y'all trying to steal my dreams? Stop all my joy.
You're like, come on. But I'm so glad that you continue forward in it, because people like me wouldn't have been able to enjoy your gifts and your talent.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
So do you prefer writing with a team or by yourself? And also share with us, what is your writing process like from whether you're preparing for a show like that you're going to be on TV, or if it's, a live comedy show, or you're working with a team of people? Just share with us about that.
Oh, sure. No, I only write alone. I don't write with the team. I mean, as a comedian, sometimes, we'll be in the back of a club or something like that, and, you'll get off stage and somebody will say, oh, it would be funnier if you said this or that, just to kind of add, and give each other, like, notes. But, we most of us just write by ourselves. And my process, I'm not going to say I'm the most diligent writer. I kind of am a people watcher, and I just kind of jot stuff down, just like everybody else does with the memo on their phone. Like, I see something crazy, and I'll come back to something that nags me. Like, I'm like, no, that was really funny. What do I think is funny about that? I definitely am not yet the kind of writer who sits down every day and just writes jokes. Like, I don't do it that way. But I tend to just, I wrote a bit about dating, and then I'm like, well, what else is funny about this one thing? And just try to branch off from there, because I just like my act to be conversational. My favorite comedians, I don't know what your favorite, but who are your favorite comedians? Who do you like?
Well, besides you, of course, I love Bernie Mac is really funny. He's one of my favorites. I also like George Lopez. I love Rosika Mathers from Wild 'N Out. And I especially love that she's another woman of color, like doing it like on TV and things. I love all different kinds of people. It just depends, because there's different kinds of comedians. Like, there's people who are sometimes more situational. There's more people who do it as for acting. It just depends,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is just I like my acts to be kind of conversational, like in a way that we're just talking. I'm telling you about what's going on in my life, as opposed to just joke. I like to tell kind of stories. And those are the kind of comedians that I enjoy. So for me, the stories come out of just kind of thinking about one topic and just trying to exhaust that, as opposed to like, okay, I got to come up with something new, another joke, another idea. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I noticed that with you, too, because I watched you on Last Comic Standing, and you are definitely, like, situational. Like, you really, like, caress the audience and bring them into your story so they feel like people will feel like they know you. You know what I mean? Like, you're their friend, their homegirl, their, coworker, like someone that's, like, really sharing with the story. And then, boom, you get us in and we're laughing so hard.
That's it. I want to be America's friend. Hey, y'all.
So I want to ask you this, being a comedian, and you talked about this and saying that you prefer to write by yourself. What is there like a stigma do you feel is attached to, like, for example, we're going to say like with Kevin Hart, I enjoy him. I think he's very entertaining, as an actor and just as he is as a character. Why is it that people will put a lot of pressure on a comedian to write all their jokes, and if they aren't writing all their jokes or what someone considers to be doing it all themselves, they're not looked at as, creative, as someone who may, like yourself, may only write alone? And what are your thoughts?
Well, I think, it's very different. Those are two completely different situations. Me writing alone and Kevin Hart not writing alone, just because I think it just takes a little bit more knowledge about the industry about the industry, because a guy like Kevin Hart is so committed to so many different things, right? Like, if you are doing an hour stand-up show one night, that's different than hosting the BET Awards or hosting the MTV Awards. And then, so of course you need a staff of writers for that. That's something that's, that's not the kind of jokes where you can hone them over a period of months or years, right? Those jokes are happening right then and there. They have to be topical, and you need a staff of writers for something like that. And Kevin Hart he works so much that there's no way. Like, and the thing is, he tours a lot, so you can't go into a city and then come back the next year with the same act. I mean, you can't do. I can do it. I could, if I was me, maybe I could get away with it because people aren't coming to see me necessarily. They're like, I'm coming to a comedy show, and the girl that was there was funny, right? But if you're going to Kevin Hart show, you're going because you love Kevin Hart, right? So you know all his material. You memorized his last special. So in order to come up with, I don't think people understand how long it takes to write a comedy act. I mean, so for a guy like Kevin who's on tour all the time, I mean, his staff of writers is just, I think, in overdrive what I was talking about in terms of like, yes, they help him write, but also helping him tag a bit or helping him make something funnier. They just do that full time and that's their job, as opposed to like a friend of mine sitting in the back of the club during my set. So, I mean, before Kevin Hart was huge Kevin Hart, he did the same thing everybody else did. And I'm sure, he wrote all his stuff and he's so funny. But in order to maintain that level, the only way you can really get back to doing it all yourself is to come off the road. And I don't think he wants to do that, and I don't think he should have to. So yeah, I mean, it's just totally different ball games with totally different arenas. There's no way if I work like him, I could write everything myself and keep it fresh. Either. Yeah.
I think that's, very important for you to point out because, there a lot of times are different kinds of pressures, but like you said, people are not in that person's situation. So it's easy for us to say what we would do, but like you said, when your hands are in a lot of things, you're consistently working so much, all that's going on, you are going to need to utilize the people around you. And I think that's actually helpful and beneficial because how many jobs now are you able to provide because of the fact that you're supporting other artists too?
I mean, you can't knock that guy's hustle. I mean, he's the hardest working guy. I mean, you may not love everything he does, but he's definitely working hard, and it absolutely looks like he's kind of enjoying it too, somehow. I don't know how he's finding time to enjoy life, but he looks like he's doing it. And
exactly.
I think it's because, it can take you, honestly, to become a good comic, to write an hour. It could take you 10 years to write the first hour. Right? Now, you might, it doesn't take everybody that long, obviously. But, to become a really solid comedian, the first couple of years, you're awful. And then you learn how to write a joke, and then you get rid of all the bad jokes. So as you're writing more material, you're getting rid of as much as you're writing. It takes a long time to get to that level. And, after 8, 9, 10 years, you know how to write a joke. So now they come easier. They're easier for you to write if you write, more material in a year. But just
right.
in general, I don't think people understand. Like, people were like, I heard that joke before. I'm like, are you going to hear it again? It took me a long time to write that joke, and that joke is perfect. So sit there and laugh.
Exactly.
People don't be, you don't go to a Adele concert and be like, she's singing hello again? Like, yeah.
Exactly. And you're so right, because it's like, comedy is honestly my favorite art form out of all the different types of performing arts, and I feel like it is also the most underappreciated, you know what I mean, because it's hard to stand up there, and I've never done it before, but I'm just saying, it's hard to be able to stand up there and make people laugh, which is, and I've gone to tons of comedy shows, and I try to go to as many as possible because it's just good for my soul, and I love supporting, but it's like, it's hard for people to stand up there and, like you said, to actually get someone to laugh. I know Andrew Schultz was talking about how he got, like, punched in the face one of his first comedy shows because they were, like, saying how unfunny he was, and it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I know. And so he was in an area that wasn't, that wouldn't have been too supportive towards him anyways, unless he would have had to been like Gary Owens funny, you know what I mean? And like kind of like really fit in with the community. But it was like, it's just really interesting to think about that. So what are some of the challenges you have faced in your career, and how do you overcome or?
Oh, man. I mean, there's been new challenges, it seems like every day. But, I think something that took a little bit, like a while for me to learn or to really understand was that, writing the jokes and getting up on stage and telling the jokes, that's the easy part. Like, that's the fun part. Mm-hmm. That's the reward. Sometimes I feel like I drive and fly on planes for a living. And then when I get to do comedy on my days off, like, like that's what I feel like. Sometimes that's not the job. That's the reward. But the other biggest thing is just that it's such a hustle. It's such a business. Like I get to tell the jokes, but the amount of time I had to chase somebody down to get them to book me in that room to tell the jokes, you know what I mean? To sell myself and to convince a booker, to look at my tape if they didn't know who I was. It's hard. I mean, when you're starting out and you don't have like great representation and you're doing it mostly yourself, it's a hustle. And so that's just it. My challenges have just been like any entrepreneur, like trying to figure out how to stretch the dollars when it's when it's lean and to go from being very comfortable in a full-time job career to doing something like this. But I love it, and it's worth it most days. I'm not gonna lie and say all the time, but like not on tax day, it ain't worth it. No, and I genuinely love what I do.
Right, and you can tell that. And so, how do you stay confident while working in industries that have been known to tear people down?
I'm kind of. It's interesting. I was saying this to somebody the other day. Like, I'm very confident in my funny. I don't, I think that I'm funny. I think I have to think that in order to do what I do. But that's the one thing I think I'm most confident in life. Like, any other thing, I'm like, I don't know where I fit in. I don't feel like great about this. And so I never doubt the joke. But, I mean, the entertainment industry is like, it's, tear you down, tell you you're not everything enough, and you see people past you that aren't as talented or don't work as hard, and, and that's always tough. But you just have to be confident in, the fact that you're doing the right thing, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that your time will come if you keep working hard. And that's kind of it, because there are a lot of days when you're like, who got what? But you kind of have tunnel vision, and so for me, it's tunnel vision, but then also just not being antisocial. That's not what I mean, but like being not getting caught up in the cliquishness that people can get into in the industry. Just making sure that you maintain good working relationships with everyone. And sometimes that means you don't have to be too close with anyone. But, you keep a few good friends. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and it sounds like, too, what you're sharing with our listeners is that authenticity is very important. You know what I mean? Because as you are authentic to yourself, that helps you to remain confident. And like you said, you will be able to maintain, you know, the great working relationships and, like you said, not get caught up in the cliquey things. Because, you know, I live in California, and I'm in Southern California, about an hour from L.A., and people are always shocked when they see me in Hollywood, L.A., because they're like, you're not, even though you're in the industry, like you definitely can't live here because you don't act like what we think the industry is and all these things.
You're
and that's
normal.
because, like, yeah, and it's like automatically because when I communicate with people, I tear those walls straight down and I go straight to communicate with people from the heart. So it doesn't matter what industry, whether I'm at a red carpet event or a charity event or whatever Grammy, you know, charity event, whatever it is, I'm going to treat all people the same. So then what happens is they're not going to communicate with me the way we're used to seeing things, you know?
Absolutely. I think, pardon me, I think that when you are authentic in comedy and music and whatever, I think that people are drawn to you, and it doesn't, they'll pay for you, even if they don't, you know, they'll just pay for you, whatever you're going to say. It's not a... Hello?
Some people give... Okay, there you go. You back?
What happened? Oh, no.
I don't know. I couldn't hear you. It just stopped. I was like, where did she go? It's
That's
okay.
So weird. And then you're there again. I don't even know what happened. Okay, well, hi.
That's okay. Well, she's back in the studio, everyone. That's a good thing. This is a live show, and you know all about that with live shows, where it's like you never know what can happen.
Sorry about that. I don't know. I was just rambling. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not on the radio anymore.
It's okay. We got you back in. So you were talking about with authenticity.
Oh, gosh. I don't know where I cut off. But anyway, I was just saying that when you are authentic, I think that, you know, first of all, nobody can bite your style. And then number two, you're just able to form I guess, people feel like they've bonded with you, I guess, is what I basically was trying to say. I said it better the first time. That's true. I didn't hear that.
That's okay. I still felt it, though. I feel you. What are you most proud of?
Man. Gosh, career-related, I think I'm just most proud of making something out of nothing. You know, I think the idea of having an idea, I mean, and in terms of career, but even on a micro level, like when I have a thought and then I put that thought to paper and then I edit it, you know, and I get on stage and I work it out to something that when I say it, it elicits such a genuine joy from people and laughter, or even if it's not joy, whatever that joke is supposed to do. The fact that I did that, like I did that all by myself. I started in my silly brain, and, you know, now it's out there in the ether, and it's on television, or it's, you know, to me, like I'm so proud of being able to say, this is something that I did all by myself, and look what it did, you know, and so that, and that's such a great feeling. It's not a tangible thing to anyone else, but to me it feels real, you know, it feels like I can say, look at this. I made this, even though it's not a thing. So yeah, like I've, you know, having built, you know, some, you know, it's not always a living, but making that, but it is a living. Out of the silly ideas in my head, I think that's dope. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so share with us, what are your current projects that you're working on, and what do you have coming up? And, you know, I love your show, Exhale. Like, I put that on repeat, and I'll watch it again because it encourages me so much, and then I DVR it, so I have, like, the whole season, and I'm just encouraged by all of you ladies.
Well, thank you. We love doing that show. We're not going to be on. We're not renewed, but it was just such a great, I know, it was such a great time, and we actually just had, it was so weird because the way they put that show together, it was just by chance. We met each other, you know, for a weekend. We spent a weekend together before we started shooting back in 2013, and we just hit it off. And they just picked us. You know, they're like, we want this person. There's no way to know if we would gel, if we would get along. And we really did. We all just loved each other, and we were like, oh, this is going to be fun. And so that was a really great opportunity to discuss, issues pertaining to people, women of color especially, with so many, such a diverse group of women, and doing this in such a positive manner and meet so many people. So that was really great. I would love to do something like that again. I really enjoyed the talk. Right now I'm writing a project, hopefully for television. I don't know if it's for traditional television or if it's for some other kind of platform, maybe like a digital platform, but that's something I've been working on. And basically, just telling these jokes all around the country. I've got my website. Can I say that?
Yes, I want you to tell everywhere where people can stay in contact with you. Let them know all that.
Sure. Yeah, my website is erinjackson.net. And it has my tour dates. I need to update it, but it's got some tour dates on there to find out if you're listening, maybe I'm coming by you. And so that's there. And I guess my social media handles, I'm EJ the Comic on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm trying to get better about Twitter. And you can find me on Facebook too if you still do that. Erin Jackson Comedy. So, yes, that's where you can catch up with all the things that I'm doing. And, I'm just trying to stay out there looking for some late-night appearances this fall, and I will make sure everybody knows,
Yes, awesome. And as we wrap up your interview, please share some words of wisdom and encouragement with up-and-coming comedians and actors.
Oh, man, words of encouragement. Guess just for anyone, pardon me, anyone pursuing a dream, whatever it is, it's just, to me, it's like if there's something nagging at you, you kind of owe it to yourself to try it. I mean, you just never know what you might be amazing at. And, I think that just, you have to try it and then get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's the artistic process. But I just think that there's so much, even if it's not something you do for a living, if it's something you do as an outlet, just get out of it what you want to get out of it, and just do it for however long or however much or however often it makes you happy. Because I was happy with comedy when I was doing it twice a week, and I loved it then. And it just so happens to be my career now, but even if it were just that, I would still love it. So I just think, pursue it, and even if it's not your number one thing right now, or it can't be right now, just do your best and just try to improve. And I mean, I'm sure I said a lot of things. I don't have one word of encouragement because I wasn't prepared, but hopefully that's helpful.
No, you shared lots of encouragement. The whole interview was very encouraging. I want to thank you so much, Erin, for being on the Sade Champagne Show tonight. Like I said, I'm so encouraged by you. I want to continue to support you any way that I can, and I'm glad to have had you on tonight. Everyone, make sure you check her out on social media and her official website as well. That's erinjackson.com, right?
.net.
.net, yes, erinjackson.net, and then on Twitter and Instagram, she is EJ the Comic, and you can find her on Facebook as well. And so I want to thank you for being on the show tonight. Next up, we have Drew Seeley with Beautiful from his The Resolution album. You're listening to the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio.
Are you a fashionista? Do you live for glamour? Are you always posting the chicest OOTDs on Instagram? Then, girl, you have got to check out Tan Candy. Tan Candy is LA's newest, hottest vintage clothing brand, personally curated by stylist and actress Tanya Chisholm. Tan Candy specializes in high-end, funky, fun, one-of-a-kind vintage clothing and amazing statement pieces. We also offer personal and editorial styling services. Check us out online at www.tancandy.com or in person every Saturday from noon to 3 p.m. at Made by Jim Bob's Jewelry Shop in North Hollywood. That's 11114 Magnolia Boulevard. Tan Candy, vintage glamour and cool girl style. This is Tanya Chisholm from the Tan Candy Style segment, and you're listening to the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio.
Welcome back to the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio. Our final segment of the night is Living with Fearless Joy with Rick and Melissa. Join pastors, authors, and speakers Rick and Melissa Wood as they share tips and testimonies for living a life free from fear and full of joy. Hashtag Living with Fearless Joy to ask them questions and join in the conversation.
Hey guys, this is Rick and Melissa Wood with the Living with Fearless Joy segment on the Sade Champagne Show here on Grind Hard Radio, and we've really enjoyed our season with you guys, and we're excited about sharing this final topic as we wrap up this season. We're actually going to talk about fear itself. Now, our segment is called Living with Fearless Joy, and we've talked about a lot of great topics just regarding faith and living with joy and finding freedom in our lives. But we actually want to tackle the topic of fear tonight. But we're going to tackle it from a different angle than probably most of you have heard before. And we're going to tackle fear by examining our relationship with God. There's this really great book out there by a man named Dr. Timothy Jennings. He wrote a book called The God-Shaped Brain. And basically, just paraphrasing, he says that the type of God that we worship actually affects the way that our brain functions. So if you worship a God that's vengeful or punishing, or even if you have some kind of fear of God or fear in your relationship with God, that it actually damages the part of your brain where you experience love, empathy, and compassion. But conversely, on the opposite side, when you worship a God who is loving and kind and compassionate, it actually brings healing to your brain. So just with that thought in mind, we want to really look at fear in our lives and how our view of God may actually increase or decrease the fear that we may have.
You know, probably if you talk about God in most circles or most people, there is this underlying, God's great. There probably is a God, even if they're not, people who go to church every Sunday. Supposedly 80% of Americans believe in God. So there's still probably a misunderstanding about him. They probably, if you talk about him, it's like the dad you don't want to upset. It's like, yeah, he's God, but hey, don't make him mad because then he might zap you. And I just want to say that view is actually not the true view of who really God is. Imagine if you were a dad and your kids thought that you had a short fuse or a short temper, or maybe you're a dad who made bad things happen in their lives to teach them lessons. You instead of them learning the lesson not to touch the hot stove, and you being there to comfort them when they do, you take their hand and you put it on the stove. I mean, that's the kind of God that has been portrayed or people think about. Even insurance. They won't cover the things that are called acts of God, like God causes hurricanes, earthquakes, and all these kind of things. And I understand, there's that tension between worshiping a powerful God and all this stuff. But, Jesus himself is the full representation and revelation of who God is. And most of the time we get our understanding of God as this angry or mercurial God who is up and down, or he's two-faced, or he's, sometimes he's happy and sometimes he's mad, from the Old Testament and the Hebrew Scriptures, and not understanding how to read those things. You see, there's this thing called progressive revelation. And the people of that time, they didn't have a full revelation of who God was. In fact, when Jesus showed up on the scene, he said, "If you have seen me, you have seen the Father." He goes further to say that no one has actually seen God until I showed up right now. So that means all this amazing stuff that is in the Hebrew Scriptures, all the amazing rituals, and some not so amazing, and things that happened in all those, Jesus is saying that his revelation about who God is superior to everything. So we have to be careful in how we view God. God is not like an Old Testament God and a New Testament God. It's us who had the lens on. It's us who viewed God in a certain way. And if you want to take it back to the creation story of Adam and Eve and those first beings that the Bible talks about, that is where, if you will, that in the dawning of man's creation, where we began to inherit this lens that causes us to view God as someone or something, or to be feared and to be afraid of. And Jesus, in one act, comes to remove that lens. If it's like you had cataracts or you had eye surgery, it's like we were once blind, but now we see. And all those things before Jesus were just looking through a glass dimly. Some things they got right, some things they got wrong. But the point is, God was progressively revealing himself to people, and he wasn't commanding violence and causing things to happen. He actually came and suffered violence. Jesus is unique in that he is the only great faith leader to actively suffer violence. See, God didn't kill Jesus, we killed Jesus. And so we have to see this lens and have it taken off. Theologian James Torrance says, Jesus did not die in order to condition God to love you. His love is unconditional. Jesus did not die to condition God to be gracious towards you. His grace is unconditional. So we have to allow God's love to remove this fear that we have about him and for him and of him that has been inherited through religious teaching in our culture.
So as we just move forward in desiring to live free from fear and tackling the issue of fear in our lives, just a few quick points that we want to say regarding our relationship with God and regarding how we view him that will help us walk in the freedom from fear that Jesus already paid for. And the first thing is that we are not to fear God. We are not to have fear in our relationship with God. I came out with a book last year called Eliminating Fear, How Removing the Fear of God Leads to Removing Fear in Life. And while I don't have time to completely break down the correct understanding of the fear of the Lord that we hear about so often in the Bible, I do just want to say that our current understanding, or the most common understanding, that the fear of the Lord is some kind of trembling fear or even some kind of trembling awe or reverence is not completely correct. And that if we really begin to study what God is saying and actually read the Old Testament, like Rick said, through the lens of Jesus, we realize that this God that in some ways we've been taught to fear or even be afraid of is a God that is nothing but love and nothing but grace and nothing but goodness and compassion and kindness, and that in drawing near to this God, we know him more intimately, and we see this kind of love that he personifies. So fear is not something we're meant to have in our relationship with God. And fear is never something that needs to be stirred up in that connection. It's not ever something that we need to keep regarding our view of the Lord.
So some verses for that is it 2 Timothy says, perfect love casts out fear. And so God is love. So how can there be fear if God is in the equation? Perfect love casts out fear, and God is love. So there should not be any fear in this relationship with him.
Yeah, I love that 2 Timothy verse where it says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And I think that's so important to understand that we don't have fear, but instead God has given us a sound mind, because many times the separation that we feel from God or the fear that we even have in our relationship with God is really just in our heads. In Colossians 1:21, it says, once you were alienated from God and were enemies in your minds. So it's not that we were ever alienated or ever separated. God has always loved us. God has always been for us. But in our minds, we thought that we were alienated. We thought that we were disconnected. And so that's why it's so important that in replacement of fear, that we realize that we've been given a sound mind, power, love, and a sound mind.
I want to correct myself. It's actually 1 John that says perfect love casts out fear. Sorry about that. But yeah, the other thing, so number one is we're not to be afraid of God. We don't have to fear him. That perfect love casts out fear, that he's a God is love, so he is all loving. And so when we come into an awareness of that love, it actually leads us to leave behind our alienation and our blindness that we have inherited, if you will, from our ancestors, that's been passed down and taught through culture and experience, that somehow God is other and God is mad and God. So that's what that love does. It frees us out. So number two is God doesn't speak with fear. Now, a lot of times people think that God's going to zap them or warn them or yell at them like a parent. We have parents who got frustrated. I get frustrated. But God doesn't speak in that in a way that is contrary to his character. He's not going to speak to you in a way that's contrary to who he is. That's easy for me to say. The love chapter, 1 Corinthians 13, talks about, describes love. It's patient, it's kind, it's gentle, it doesn't boast, it's not arrogant, it's long-suffering, it puts as patience. So God is going to speak with those kind of things. He's not going to speak in violence or perversion or hatred or insecurity or fear even. Those things, if those thoughts or those, in your head, you have those things and you think those are God speaking to you, those are not God speaking to you.
I think that one of the ideas that has been a commonly accepted idea is that we are supposed to live with some level of healthy fear in our lives. And so God must speak with fear sometimes, because a little bit of healthy fear keeps us safe, right? Keeps us from jumping off the edge of a cliff. But I just want to say that imagine you are standing at the edge of that cliff and you decide that it's fear that keeps you from jumping off, and you choose to partner with fear in that moment. You decide, I'm afraid I'm going to die, so I'm not going to jump off this cliff. And so when you've partnered with fear, you see 20, 30 years down the road, suddenly you're afraid of heights, you're afraid of elevators, you're afraid of hiking, you're afraid of roller coasters, all these things you used to enjoy. But instead, I want to propose a different option. I want to say that instead of fear, that God wants to speak to us with a voice of wisdom. So let's say I'm standing at the edge of the cliff and I go, hey, it would not be the wisest decision for me to jump off the edge of this cliff, because if I did that, I probably wouldn't reach my destiny. So then when I choose to partner with wisdom 20 to 30 years down the road, I find that I am able to make good, healthy decisions in my life. So I just want to say that God doesn't speak with fear, but yet he's given us an option to learn to live from wisdom and to hear his voice through wisdom instead.
So as we wrap up our time tonight, I just want to emphasize, I guess, our last point, which has actually been the point all along, is that God is love, and that he is perfect love casts out fear. And, we tend to be afraid sometimes of those things. Even love we get afraid of, because we know that love puts a high demand on us, if you will. In other words, he's going to love us just like we are, and sometimes we don't want to face who we are, and we just want to ignore it and, keep going. But he loves us enough not to leave us in our alienation. He casts out that fear. He's going to love you no matter what. Come hell or high water, he's always going to be there for you. So we just want to leave you with that God loves you just like you are, right where you are. So thanks again for listening, and we really appreciate having those ears out there for the past few weeks.
And you can find us at Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I can be found at Melissa Joy Wood, and Rick can be found at Rick C. Wood, and we'd love to hear from you guys down the road. Take care, and God bless.
Welcome back to the Sade Champagne Show, everyone. Next, we have Drew Seeley featuring Belinda with Dance With Me from the Cheetah Girls 2 soundtrack. Stay tuned in to the Season 1 finale of the Sade Champagne Show on Grind Hard Radio.
The Living with Fearless Joy segment on the Sade Champagne Radio Show features Rick and Melissa Wood, who run a ministry called Fearless Joy Ministries. Rick and Melissa have a passion to see people free from religion, free from fear, and living lives full of freedom and full of joy. Melissa has authored a book titled Eliminating Fear, How Removing the Fear of God Leads to Removing Fear in Life. If you would like to book Rick and Melissa for any speaking engagements, conferences, or to talk about eliminating fear, you can reach them at the website eliminatingfear.com. Just make sure to go to the Contact Us page where you can get more information and you can communicate with them personally.
You can find Melissa at Melissa Joy Wood at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and you can find Rick at Rick C. Wood at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And right here on Grind Hard Radio on the Sade Champagne Show.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight and who has been rocking with us all season long. Thank you for downloading, subscribing, and sharing my radio show. This dream come true was 5 years in the making. I have added a new castmate to my show, poet, published author, and TEDx speaker Ayakunle Falama. He was a guest at the beginning of the season for my Who Wrote That segment, and now I'm bringing him on to host a new segment titled Sharing Your Story next season, where he'll be giving you tips and encouragement on writing and how to share your authentic story with courageous transparency. As we wrap up tonight's season 1 finale of the Sade Champagne Show, thanks to Grindhard Radio for the opportunity to create my own radio show. Thanks to Travis Miller for creating and producing my theme song, and Scott Swoosh for mixing the song. I've loved rocking to it all season long. Thanks to my celebrity guests, Drew Seeley and Erin Jackson. Thanks to all of my guests throughout the season and my stellar cast, Rick and Melissa Wood, Tanya Chisholm, Lisa Lewalt, Christina Renee, and Veronica Esquivel Winters. Thanks to everyone who believes in me, prays for me, and encourages me and supports my dreams. I'm eternally grateful and empowered by your love. We are going to end season 1 with a song by one of my favorite bands, Family Force 5. I'm currently playing this on repeat. It's Show Love from their Time Stands Still album. I love all kinds of music. Thanks for listening to the Sade Champagne Show on Grindhard Radio this season. And we'll see you in June for some special episodes from my cast and me before we officially premiere season 2 on July 20th. Next season is going to be absolutely bananas. Get ready. Where dreamers dream, where dreams come true. There's no limit to what we can do. Turning no's to yes, leaving doubt behind, releasing the stress. We were born to shine.